All right, welcome to Crystal Ridge's Museum of American Art's Educator Speaker Series. I am Kate Collier, the Senior Museum Educator at Crystal Ridge's, and I'm joined here with my fellow museum educator, Will Knauer, and we are here to bring you this evening's program, In the Key of Color, with artist and musician Claude Lawrence and Professor Lauren N. Claire from the University of Arkansas. To begin our program this evening, we would like to play the Crystal Ridge's Museum's Land Acknowledgement.
As Crystal Ridge's and the Momentary, we recognize our role as settlers and guests in the Northwest Arkansas region.
We acknowledge the Caddo, Quapaw, and Osage, as well as the many indigenous caretakers of this land and water.
We appreciate the enduring influence of the vibrant, diverse, and contemporary cultures of indigenous peoples.
We are conscious of the role in colonization that museums have played.
As cultural institutions, we have a responsibility to engage in the dismantling of historical and systematic invisibility
of indigenous peoples, past, present, and future.
We choose to intentionally hold ourselves accountable to appropriate conversation, representation, connection, and education
to facilitate a space of measurable change.
Thank you. And at this time, I'd like to take a few minutes to read some bios of our two speakers. First, I'm going to let you know a little bit about Professor Claire. Lauren is a native of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and a citizen of the Chickasaw Nation. Lauren Nicole Claire began her professional career as a vocalist in 2001 when she gave a solo recital for the Carol Bryce series at age 17. After pursuing a Bachelor of Music degree in vocal performance at Oral Roberts University, Lauren returned home to sing as a chorus member for the Cimarron Opera Company. After graduating with her master's in 2007, Lauren began working as the vocalist for a local jazz trio and serving as vocal coach within the Miss OCU organization. In addition, she opened a private home voice studio and worked as a choral liaison for the Summer Arts Institute at Forts Mountain. In 2009, Lauren moved to Fayetteville, Arkansas area and began working as a local singer-songwriter under the pseudonym Wren. In 2011, she formed what is now known as the Allie Lauren Project. The Allie Lauren Project is an avant-garde collective of classical, alternative, and jazz musicians. In 2018, the Allie Lauren Project was nominated for a regional Emmy Award by the Heartland chapter of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences for their work with Outsiders Productions and the Grand Casino Hotel and Resorts Play It Loud Season 2. In addition to her work for the Allie Lauren Project, Lauren spent time teaching private voice lessons and piano lessons, writing and producing works for hip-hop artist JB, and performing jazz standards for Arkansas Philharmonic Orchestra events. She also collaborated with her tribe, the Chickasaw Nation, in production for her composition, which was featured as the theme song for the nation's 2019 annual meeting. Lauren has performed for events at Crystal Ridge's Museum of American Art and the Momentary here in Northwest Arkansas. In 2020, she achieved a longtime dream of teaching at the university level. Currently, Lorien serves as instructor of voice at the University of Arkansas, specializing in both classical and jazz studies. She also directs the Songwriters Ensemble and is the founder and director of Voices, Vocal Jazz Ensemble. Thank you, Professor Claire, for being here with us this evening.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes. And now I would like to read the bio and introduce you to Claude Lawrence. Claude Lawrence moved to New York States as a saxophonist, having been drawn to visual expression from a young age and inspired by the work of Norman Lewis, who frequently responded to jazz in his abstract compositions. Lawrence's focus shifted to painting over the course of the next 20 years. From growing up in Chicago, where he attended an arts and music school, Lawrence became enmeshed in a milieu of the most notable artists and musicians of the day. These relationships informed Lawrence's perspective, not only on contemporary art and music, but on the potential political resonances of these creative modes of expression. He recalls that when discussing Norman Lewis with a friend and fellow painter, Jack Whitten, the latter observed how significant it was for an African-American artist to gain recognition for anything other than figurative work, especially since figuration was more likely to be regarded as political than abstraction. Even though Lawrence's compositions have almost always obviated referential imagery, he found that his work could nevertheless be mobilized in the service of meaningful social change. Lawrence says, many jazz artists supported social issues by playing for huge crowds and raising money for the civil rights movement. The music did not have to be about the issues of civil rights. Music could be in the service of these issues, and I believe the same of art. This crossover between jazz and abstraction can also be seen in Lawrence's energized compositions of bold colors and impassioned brushstrokes, wherein graffiti-like marks jostle alongside energetic but deliberate scrawl, and more meditative, fluid works hum with frenetic movement. Art historian Adriana Campbell attests to the depth of influence that Lawrence's musical career had on his painting, and observed that his work often operates as a fusion of improvisation and subject matter governed by memory, akin to the way that a jazz musician follows the established chord progressions and recycles it to render it continually anew. Accustomed to his touring lifestyle as a saxophonist, Lawrence has traveled across the United States, Mexico, and Europe. Ever-changing scenery has provided fresh inspiration and encouraged Lawrence to continually adapt his work and medium to his location. His recent body of work, completed both in France and in residency at the church in Sag Harbor, New York, are his most monumental paintings yet, both in scale and ambition. He currently resides in Sag Harbor, New York, and most recently had a solo exhibition of works in San Francisco, California. Thank you, Mr. Lawrence, for being here with us. At this time, I'm going to turn the conversation over to Professor Claire. So,
thank you so much, Kay. Well, Mr. Lawrence, it's good for today to finally be here. I have to start by saying I have so enjoyed these past few months getting to know you and getting to see your art and hear about your process and all of the things that come out of you as an artist. It's been very inspiring, and I'm honored to be here tonight to explore kind of the depths of improvisation and how that can segue into what we do as educators in helping our students to really maximize their potential as artists in whatever field they might be going into. So I want to start by traveling back in time just a little bit, and I am going to open up this other screen. And all right. So we're going to start at the beginning of this chronological slide share that I have. And I want to talk about 1981 at the Hop. Here, your art is kind of developing into what we see today. Can you tell us about where you were then as an artist and what you were trying to convey at this point in time with this painting?
Well, my works are based upon a manifestation of ideas, just plain ideas, wherever ideas come from, I'm on it. Okay, so
love it.
This is kind of there's a certain, I can relate to a certain lyricism in this work.
Sure.
But
sure.
I
What
guess
is that lyricism?
That's the motivation.
Got ya. You speak of lyricism in this work. What is that lyricism in this work? Do you have like a definition or like a certain pinpointed something that represents that lyricism here?
No, it's just from being a musician.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. The line. I got it.
Yeah.
All right. So if we go forward to the next year that we have, 1989, Cudden and Ella, what's happening in this painting?
Well, that's pretty much a street scene, from various places I've been.
Yeah.
It's a reaction to a certain type of woman, it seems.
Yeah. I love that. Do you feel, so you speak of reaction, do you feel that you ponder these reactions, or do you have a reaction and then you just put it on canvas the way that you initially feel it, like sort of unvarnished?
Well, it's all in the spirit of improvisation. When you're in front of a canvas, it's your turn. So, you improvise whatever comes out of you, based upon your experience in your life.
Yeah.
And your memoirs.
Yeah, indeed. I want to touch on that a bit because we've spent enough time that I've been able to kind of understand how you get up and approach a canvas, but I'd like for you to tell everyone kind of how this spirit of improv really kind of makes its way onto the canvas and out of your body in a sense. And we're going to, of course, get to see a little bit of that here in a little bit. But can you kind of explain how you go about creating?
Okay. I create because I'm not like worth anything else. You know what I mean?
Like it's your way to communicate.
Right. My way of existing, more or less.
Yeah. Do you feel like you communicate differently between music and between the art, or does the communication feel the same, like whichever you're doing?
totally different. My approach through music is personal,
Sure.
but in the art world, you make things for, display,
Yeah.
You want to see it, and if you see it and you like it, you want to show it, or
Yeah.
you get a demand, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I get that.
So most of the time when I'm playing for the angels. Okay, that's my audience.
Sure. I get that. I want to come back to that when we start talking about education. Yeah, I want to put a pin in that because this painting, God telling a joke to God too. I love this thought, and I am so interested to hear what was your thought when you were creating this.
Well, that's kind of an interaction between like nobility, sort of noble figures, I would say. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of chess pieces a bit. It kind of reminds me of chess pieces a bit.
Kind of, yeah.
I'm more interested in what you see, though, than what I see.
Well, what I see is a finished piece because it's done, okay, and I liked it. So, I moved on.
Yeah. I know you told me that whenever you finish a painting, it titles itself.
Most of the time.
Was this one that titled itself?
But, oh yeah, sure.
Sorry, I think I interrupted something you were saying.
I'd say most of the times when I can't think of a title, I'd say I'm leaving it up to the viewer to form their own interpretation.
Sure.
That's my cop out for not getting a title.
Yeah, it's a good cop out. It's a good one. It's a good one. So leaving home, is this about you? Is this about someone else? Who's leaving? What's happening in this one?
Well, it's kind of a breakaway kind of feeling.
Okay.
I was, on a certain plane, and then this came up. So it was like, I'm going somewhere else now.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Did the lines represent anything for you? Like your thought as you were making those lines, like the way you configured them?
No, it was just my state of being at the time.
Okay.
It could probably be analyzed,
Sure. Now, so for those of you who are viewing, these are all in chronological order as they've come. So 2001, we have this style where you can really see the painter's hand in this painting. And then we move to this more atmospheric type of feel. Can you share a little bit about how you sort of gravitated from one space to another, or maybe what caused this particular piece to be so different than what was coming before?
Well, I think it's probably inspired by music. If you're playing a set, something you start off with, like a fast piece, something, spirited, and then you go to a ballad. This would be,
The ballad.
Yeah, a ballad.
Gotcha. Decimation. What's being decimated? Can you speak a little bit about this one? I love this.
Order is being decimated.
Wow. Just the order of all things?
Order of all things.
Wow. The colors that you chose, what did they represent to you?
Oh, let's see. Nothing mental. Spontaneous improvisation.
Sure.
I can't say I'm going to put a red here and a brown here. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta already have that.
Sure. Whenever you are mixing your paints, is the mixing process improvisational as well?
Absolutely.
Okay. Anticipation. Were you anticipating something?
Even right now. Yeah, sure. I was anticipating something.
Is
Yeah,
there a specific?
I had an angle of energy, let's say.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Is there a specific something that you can point to that you were like anticipating? Was this like an excited anticipation, a doom anticipation, or what kind of direction were you headed in?
Okay, well, let's see. Let's look in the right-hand corner, upper right-hand corner.
Okay.
And it's like a viewer looking out.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay, you can see that.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. So cool. Prevailing discipline. Talk to us about this.
It's more of a take on lyricism than a storyline.
Okay.
You
Just how it flows together.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. They made me a promise.
Yeah.
Was somebody making you a promise? Who made the promise, or what's happening?
Well, it's like in general, things would be different if somebody made you a promise. Obviously, it wasn't kept. So
Sure.
So this is kind of like, hey, I can relate to that.
Yeah. Were these colors improvised as well, or once you finished it, did they mean something to you?
No, I don't do things with, if I draw a bloodstream, it'd have to be, red maybe. But that's
Sure.
No.
Okay. Okay. What the Traveler Saw.
Mhm.
I love this one. We talked a little bit about it the other day. Who's traveling?
Well, the traveler sees everything.
Yeah.
And unless you go somewhere and move around,
Yeah.
it's a miseducation.
So when I look at this, I see the eye that's up almost to the middle, but on the left. Is that the traveler, or how should we view this?
Well, you're working on it.
Yay.
No, it's up for your interpretation. Yeah, there it is.
Okay. Okay. Tumble view. Is it from a perspective of tumbling, or from what's happening in this one?
Yeah, I mean, you have a view, a moving view, let's say.
Okay.
It's like there's something happening in there. So
Sure.
I would say tumbling.
Okay. Can you talk to us a little bit about your process, like acrylic versus oil, and maybe how you approach a painting differently because of the type of paint that you're using? Is it different for you?
Oh yeah, you use oil when you have your correct ventilation. A lot of times, I've had a lot of spaces that I didn't have that kind of ventilation, so I would have to use acrylic.
Gotcha. Okay. And then I understand that the drying process is quite different.
Right. Right. A large piece could take 3 weeks to dry.
Gotcha.
Maybe more, possibly more. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Amigos.
What's that?
Is this
Oh,
friends of
yeah.
yours? Just two friends that you saw? What's happening here?
Well, there's a relationship there, so
Sure.
there it is.
Gotcha.
Friends,
Okay.
whatever.
Oh, I see better
Two of
now.
them.
Okay.
Two of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I see. Now that you say relationship, I see it better.
Mhm.
Yeah. Very cool. The Ritz. I love that title. Could you tell is it what I think of when I think of the Ritz and I think of like the hotel and like,
Yeah, absolutely. The Ritz is,
okay.
yep.
Grace and Stress.
Mhm.
This title, I think, says so much
Mhm.
and is so important, I think, just as humanity through life.
Mhm.
Can you tell us a little bit of like what was happening in 2016? Where did this come from?
I think I did that in maybe Nice, France or something.
Hmm.
And I was in a little calmer
Okay.
frame of mind.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I love Nice. That's such a beautiful place. Boulevard.
Mhm.
I
Just
want
a-
to talk about both this one. Is it related to the deli, which we'll get to in a minute? Like, is it the same type of you saw something on the boulevard? Or
no,
what's happening?
it just reminds me of that kind of activity,
Ah,
that energy.
okay.
Mhm.
And smoke.
Mm.
What kind of smoke is this?
What kind of smoke is that?
Yeah,
It's a picture and it's called smoke.
I know, but I mean, what kind of smoke are you painting?
Ad. No, it's not an ad.
It's not what?
It's not an advertisement.
Yeah, true. It could be.
It could be. Yeah, in the right hand. I'm on royalties though.
Yeah, it could be. And then we have another boulevard that's very different. I'll go back to the other one and this one.
That's the
What's
difference.
the difference between those two scenes for you?
This is the south of France.
Okay.
Okay.
And where's the other one?
And the air is, a little different and lighter.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
I see.
Well, that's probably, stateside, the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And I love this one. It makes me think, I'm not an art critic, but it makes me think of Da Vinci a bit.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if it's just the thin lines that are present. Can you tell us, like everything else seems to have such broad, like definitive strokes, and this feels different from the others. Is there a why?
Well, variety, you're drawn to variety, it will come out, in what you do, whatever you do.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
You can't do the same thing all the time, you know what I mean?
True. So this was you kind of just truly experimenting with doing something different.
Yeah, well, that's what improvisation is. And,
That's true.
my particular dedication.
Yes, I love that. Love that. East Side Ruminations.
Mhm.
What East Side? Which East Side are we talking about? What city are we in?
Lower East Side, Manhattan.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
And then the deli. Tell us the story.
Well, it's got that, you go to a deli, like say on the Lower East Side or in Chinatown, it's got that funky atmosphere and, all those animal parts. So That's where I got that from.
Yeah, yeah. And then here we kind of move more into that atmosphere. Like we still see your hand a little bit, but it's very atmospheric in a way, which I love. And you left this one untitled for our interpretation.
Right.
The colors are really, really nice. Here as well. Such a beautiful piece. And then the gathering. Who's gathering? What's happening?
That's a creature gathering. Yeah.
Particular creatures that you saw or that you're drawn to, or?
Imaginary, totally imaginary. Yeah.
Love it. I love this one. So good. So on the topic of improvisation, if I can stop the share, I want to kind of segue. We're about to hear from both voices and see you in the act of painting, which I'm so excited to see.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yes. So this this idea of communicating, do you, before we segue into that, do you feel like when you are communicating, like putting the paint onto the canvas, paper, whatever medium that you're using, is the same or different than when, say, it's actually hanging in the museum or somebody's viewing the painting and you're communicating on the back end of things? Is it process or?
No, I think the goal isn't so much, communication, but, manifestation. And you can take it where you want it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So on that note, let's do some manifesting.
Okay, let's manifest.
I'll let you get set up. I'm gonna go snag voices who are down the hall, and we will be right back.
Okay. Here we go.
That was so wonderful to see. I love what you created and voices. You guys sounded so good.
I was
For those of
inspired.
Oh, good, 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 good. I think they had a lot of fun and just trying to improvise along with what you were doing and really collaborate in that way. I think I'm excited to hear their take on it after all of this. But yeah, that was really, really cool to listen to and watch. So thank you for that collab. So I mentioned we're going to kind of start talking about how, as educators, we can really facilitate an environment for students in helping them sort of birth creativity and not feel necessarily stuck in the rules that exist in every field that there is, but how we can, create and bring forth artists such as you yourself, Mr. Lawrence, successfully. So I want to kind of go back to this communication topic before we get into some other things. So I want to share a little story about sort of how I even got into voice in the first place, because piano is my first instrument, but it's always been a very personal instrument. And I heard you mentioning that saxophone is kind of the same way for you. And so piano is something I kind of keep to myself. I'll play with myself accompanying at times, but
You play with the angels.
yes, play with the angels. I like that. But I found that singing, I found it very hard to communicate as a kid. And I felt misunderstood a lot of times. And looking back on it, I think it probably was more that I didn't understand myself versus not being understood by other people.
Well, that's the big one, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it really is. But I found that the first time I decided to sing for my peers when I was in high school was the first time that I felt that they understood where I was coming from or who I was in a sense. And so for whatever reason, it just stuck. And that's what I decided to pursue professionally. I wonder if I want to talk a little bit about like how you started in art, the age you started in art, and how you sort of navigated figuring out music and art, which rises to the forefront type of thing. How was communicating through art for you when you were a kid? And if you'll start with telling everybody how old you were when you started with art, visual art.
3 or 4 years old. It was just so natural to me. I took it for granted, you know. So at the age of, 13 and 14, you start searching for an image, you know.
Sure.
So I wanted to be a jazz saxophone player. That's what I became, you know. Now all I had to do was learn how to play.
Right. That's the trouble always. For sure. So I know you started out in Chicago and then you made your way to New York. Tell us what led you to New York and kind of, first before that, the education that you had in Chicago. Can you tell us about inspirations and people that really kind of helped you know that you should stay on the art path, or did you feel like that was an internal drive or a kind of a meshing of the two, encouragement and internal?
Oh, it was definitely internal because you don't get much, support for, the jazz life.
Sure.
So to speak.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you moved to New York, tell us about that decision to move from Chicago to New York and then what you kind of found yourself doing.
As far as my concern with the music was, most of it was coming out of New York, and and the players were in New York. So
yeah,
I wanted to be in that mix.
Sure.
I wanted that life.
Yeah.
Had to have that life.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Who were some of the people that you hung out with, and how did they sort of help you craft who we know you to be today?
Wow, I mean, musicians or painters?
Both, yeah.
Oh, okay. I was always a fan of Picasso for sure. And music, there was music all around us. Everybody was playing, There were a lot of influences.
Yeah.
Multiple. You probably, everybody was imitating those who were recording.
Sure. You talked to me a little bit about like some of the artists that you would have conversations with and how those conversations were such an integral part of your education, so to speak. Can you talk to us a little bit about the things that other fellow artists might say, or particular like encouraging feelings that they might give you, or ideas that they might spark? Like what was that process like for you in terms of sort of building your confidence in that particular field?
Well, when I was mostly hanging out with artists, I was a musician, and I was known as a musician.
Okay.
And then later on, I started painting. It's that whole thing. Like the five magic words.
Sure.
I do that.
Right. Yeah. Sure. Do you feel like there was like a moment where you decided, okay, now I'm going to switch to music, now I'm going to switch back to art?
It was all magic, you know. Just
Okay. Did it just kind of like,
one day I just put a piece of paper on the floor and got a, I don't know, that's where it started.
okay,
And,
okay,
in New York, in Harlem.
okay,
Mhm.
yeah. And then that kind of led the way to all of the other things that you've done. Yeah, that's very cool. So I have this sort of thought that we've explored a little bit, but I'd imagine that following one's path sort of feels like when you explain that the art is kind of telling you what to do, that the paint and how you form things is very much improv. And I think that's very indicative of how most of our lives probably feel is, I mean, we're all living life once and living life for the first time, right? And so the paths that we decide to follow are generally the first time we've been down that path. And it is very much an improvisational type of thing. I feel like teaching is the same type of experience where you have any given student who comes into the classroom, into your studio, who is very different from the next student. And I feel like as educators, it's very much our responsibility to decipher whether we're working with canvas or paper or oil or acrylic or clay or glass, or like what type of individual are we working with in order to understand how we can sort of build confidence into that individual, but also help them navigate maybe the parts of their chosen path, whether that's art, music, science, math, in an effective way. The rules that you had to learn in order to eventually break them. Do you feel like there were some educators who understood you in a way that allowed you to learn, but then still feel a freedom to be creative within that learning?
Well, that sets you up in a situation where you're looking for permission. You know, and that wasn't forthcoming, you know, from the beginning. So you have to, you know, chart your own path. And as far as being an educational point of view, I mean, I think the definition of an educator is to be able to spot potential, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that potential word that you mentioned is so important. What were you going to say next?
No, and then the rest of it is just, you know, professionalism.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can teach people who you know won't learn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I think when you speak about potential, at least in my field, a lot of my job when I have a vocalist come into my studio is to point out what's incorrect so that we can fix what's incorrect. But I find that you also have to marry that with helping them notice their potential. Because a lot of times, you know, when they come to school, maybe they've sung in choirs in high school and middle school and whatnot, but this is their first time sort of working on developing their own individual voice. And we do have to speak to potential so much that we don't cause them to only focus on all the negatives, if that makes sense. So that they don't get lost in like, oh, this is what I do wrong. I don't know if this is the same for you, but when I look back at the educators in my life that I have loved, they were the ones who really encouraged me to sort of like you kind of alluded to, like making your own place and like having your own permission to just go and do. But I could feel that they could see my potential and that they believed in my potential, versus ones that were just like,
Yeah, well, that's what a good educator is.
yeah, yeah. You mentioned to me in our talks about life being your education. Can we talk about how you absorb things from everyday life, that sort of have taught you, or things that you've come across that have taught you, and how educators can sort of inspire students not to just learn in the classroom, but to learn from, going to shows, or, going, whatever the field is, going to that outside of the classroom. Can you talk a little bit about your experience with that?
Yeah, well, a lot of things are just general knowledge, but what makes you, distinct of who you are was maybe how many times your heart's been broken, or how many nervous breakdowns you've had.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. We talked a little bit about Charlie Parker's quote a few times in our meetings. Learn your music, master your craft, forget all of that, and go play.
Right.
How did you come by, well, let me ask this first. Was there ever a point in your art or in learning the saxophone where you sort of felt entrapped by the rules, or were you always trying to break the rules?
Oh, well, there was two different paths in art, and especially music. There was the improvisational, and then there was the structure.
Sure.
The structure was, the popular music, and that was, what the definition of it was. Now, anything else experimental is considered art. So, a different category altogether.
Yeah, so you gravitated more towards that versus even putting yourself in the lane of having to be defined.
I've had to do that, but
Yeah, and that's important to know. And I feel like sometimes that's can be all of our trouble at certain points in life, is like, how well do you know yourself or appreciate yourself enough to just do what comes instinctually versus assimilating into what maybe is supposed to be the successful or the less bumpy road. Because let's face it, like in any field, anybody who's doing anything innovative often has a period of life that nobody understands. Maybe people think that they're absolutely nuts for what they're doing, or it makes, no sense at all to the general public. I know you mentioned.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That general public business. That's the problem.
Yeah. You talked to me a little bit about like sort of like the idea of focus and being able to just sort of hone in on your own path. How do you do that?
Oh, it comes natural. I can't, take credit for anything.
Sure.
Nothing.
Yeah. Do you feel like there's something that you always keep in the forefront of your mind, of like being able to give yourself permission to just be you, that maybe somebody, like say if an educator had a student who finds it difficult to embrace their uniqueness, something that you keep in the forefront of your mind that maybe like helps you embrace that, like, or something that you tell yourself, or is there anything you tell yourself, or you just do?
I just do. I don't tell myself anything.
That's important too. I feel like sometimes the chatter in our minds is too much. Yeah. So on the uniqueness side of things, people have compared you to certain artists like Basquiat, or I've heard people say Picasso. Um, do you have any of that ever running in the back of your head, or do you sort of let, you mentioned Picasso a little bit ago, do you let those sort of influences flow in a way that you're creating from them and inspired by them, but you don't feel the need to sort of not be yourself in the midst of that?
No, I don't
What was
copy
that?
anybody. I can't copy anybody, you know.
Yeah.
Only mistake I make in painting is a straight line.
That I think could be true for life too. Yeah, that's good. I like that quote. I'm gonna keep that one in my memory. So the topic of mental health and artists also oftentimes comes up. Sometimes I think it's because we get too far ahead in the future, or we get too far back in the past in our minds, and in terms of figuring out how to make art work as a viable living. I personally feel like whenever anybody is stepping out into a creative field, whether it's in engineering or, you know, visual arts, music, science, math, whatever the field is, and they're working to create something innovative, I think it's important for educators to give people permission to follow a path that doesn't necessarily mean that you're failing if you're not doing everything art. For example, I spent a little bit of time, I was trying to figure out how to do an album that I wanted to do, and of course didn't have the cash to just, you know, roll it out the way that I wanted to roll it out. So it was actually my husband who convinced me. But I segued into real estate for a little while, and it paid for that entire album to be done, which is very difficult, I feel like, as an artist. Do you feel like you have difficulty, like, when somebody tells you to do something besides your art, or you even have the thought of doing something beside your art? What is that like for you?
Well, I made a stand a long time ago, you know, what anybody said, you know, didn't matter because, you know, I was baked in.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So for you, it was more of like, this is what I'm doing, this is who I am, and it doesn't matter
Absolutely.
how
Absolutely.
yeah, like the day-to-day doesn't matter. I just need to be able to do my art.
It's not a joyride, but you know.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. And I think we have to give ourselves permission in both directions to, like, you know, even when the road is hard, to be okay in knowing that we're on the path that is truest to our inner self.
Well, it's a matter of just trusting your instincts.
Yeah.
Above all.
Yeah. And I want to say, as we're going through this, if there are questions that come up for anybody who's on this, if you will start kind of rolling them into the chat, because we are going to do a Q&A portion to this. So if there are questions that come up while we're chatting or on a specific topic, go ahead and start rolling those into the chat, and we can bring those into the conversation here in a little bit. The journey. I know after, you know, we've lived a little bit of life, we can kind of look back and see how the journey has shaped the present. And it's oftentimes hard, at least from a student's perspective, you know, when they're, you know, say 24 and younger, to see any sort of journey, because the journey really is still just churning and happening and all of that. How do you feel an educator could encourage a student to be present in their journey?
Well, what would a student look for? They would look for to the educator. I mean, they would probably size the educator up and see, you know, if they accept them as a teacher, so to speak, instinctively.
Sure, like that, the communication between the educator and the student.
Right.
In terms of how that vibe.
If an educator found the right student, they'd give it all to him.
Yeah. I get that. Exposure to diverse creative practices. What else do you pull into art that may have absolutely nothing to do with art itself?
I don't know. I had a picture, you know, he can communicate with another student, you're saying? I didn't really get that.
Oh, sorry. How do you, so on the topic of like exposure to diverse creative processes, how do you pull in other influences that may not be related to art at all into your art?
Oh, it's just whatever your influence, you know, goes into your art, you know, just day-to-day living, you know.
Yeah. What is that for you? Like, what are some examples of maybe things that you've pulled from in your art that the average person might not look at and say, oh, I can use that in my art?
Well, you'll have to leave me at the average person station.
Okay, we'll leave you at the average person. Although I don't think you are the average person at all. Let's see. Being interested in a student's instincts. I want to talk about that a little bit because it's something that we explore in Voices and then in my songwriting class of, especially in songwriting, when you're working on a deadline, which is, you know, I've said your assignment is due X and Y date, and here are your parameters. Please create something that has to do with this subject, this tempo, whatever else. And sort of the trouble with not making it perfect, but getting an idea out and trusting your reaction to the parameters that have been given to just kind of create something. If a student were to ask you, how do I just let go of the need to know where I'm headed? Can you speak to that?
When I was coming along playing, you know, I knew that in my playing that, you know, I didn't know enough. I wasn't strong enough.
Sure.
So that's what you have to work on.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, it's a matter of maturing, you know. It's art, it goes through you, isn't from you, you know. You're like, you know,
I love
a Crayola, you know, you get worn down and then, you know, there's another one.
Yeah.
But art keeps going on. And
Yeah,
it'll find its victims.
yes, that's true. That is true. I love that thought of it being like not from you, but through you. And I think that is a really helpful way to really think about any process, whether it's art or, you know, somebody building a skyscraper. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've seen those shows where like
it's what they call a calling.
yeah, yeah, where you don't just view, say, a piece of land as that piece of land, but you can fully visualize something that's never been seen before in terms of a building on that piece of land. And I'm sure that they probably would attest to the same thing, that it just spoke to them and the concept just flowed through them versus being this sort of, I am going to, you know, notion, that it was more of a through them than a from them. I love that. So the toolbox, what do you feel are the most important things in your toolbox, in terms of how you in terms of resilience, and in terms of how you like keep creating and keep having ideas that just flow out of you?
Well, I maybe have a cup of coffee, pick up a piece of charcoal, go to the canvas, and it all rolls out itself, you know.
Yeah.
Like I say, when we discussed earlier, it comes through you. It just comes, you know. You are, you know, I'm this right now, you know. This is what I do.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Let's see. I want to, you mentioned in your improvisation that there's energy bursts and then a settling. And I think we saw bits and pieces of that as you were working just then. Can you tell us where those energy bursts maybe come from? Like, is it just you have an idea that pops and you just go, or does some, like, what happens when each of those things are interchanging?
Well, there's no difference between popping and going, you know. It's the same
Sure.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to go, we have like a third kind of section to this, where it's not always clear how an artist can make a living off of their art. And I think even
What's a living?
I know, right? And I think even unto the artists themselves, sometimes it's not clear as to how they can, you know, this word monetize is thrown around a lot these days, off of what they create. Do you feel that you've ever let the notion of, can I sell this, dictate where you're headed before you were selling things like you are today?
I've never done anything for money.
Mm.
You know, it's not been my goal or, you know, symbol of success.
Sure.
You know.
Sure. If you say in the day and age that we're in, where so many people are trying to capitalize off of what it is that they do on, say, like Instagram and, you know, all of the social media platforms, TikTok, do you think that there is risk in the creative process in approaching it that way? Or is there a path that way?
What do you mean by risk? That you'll be spit upon or shunned?
No, like from a creative perspective, like, is there a risk in losing like one's fullness of one's creativity because maybe you're focused on, you know, this is what's popular on TikTok today?
Not at all. You know,
okay.
You know, your only enemy is self-doubt, and that comes out, you know, at any level.
Yeah. So you feel like people can keep that creative juice flowing no matter how they kind of approach getting their art out there?
Well, it depends on the person, you know.
True. True. That's a very good point. That is
Success to me is good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right place, right time, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So how, in terms of making more work and pushing the practice forward and the creative drive that's usually, you spoke about how it just comes naturally to you to just keep going. If you had, say, an individual who that doesn't come natural to them to just keep at it, how, is there a way in which that you would inspire, if you say there's a young artist who approached you and they need some like, go get them, like keep at it, how would you approach encouraging potential in somebody in that way to like really have a practice that they stick to?
Oh, well, I just have to revert to the golden rule. You know, you know, you would want to encourage them like you would want to be encouraged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you want to be encouraged?
Well, I don't know. I can't think a bit about being encouraged at this point. You know, I've gotten older.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand. Yeah. If when you were a little kid, were there ways that you looked to being encouraged or like desired to be encouraged?
Well, my childhood was a wash. It was no.
Ah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I gotcha. So we talked a little bit too about like specific events or an event that drew you back to art, like out of music and back to using art as your main sort of thing. Was there a specific event?
Well, I knew a woman who was a palm reader, and she said that you do music, but you're going to do something else too. So that's where we left it.
Wow. And then the internship that you spoke to me about when you first, well, not the first time you went to Paris, but when you went to Paris, can you tell us a little bit about France and like the difference between creating in France and creating in America, and maybe how environment also can really influence how somebody is able to.
Environment is very important. You know, land creates, you know, language even.
Sure.
There was creativity because there was like, you know, solitude and you know, naturalism all around.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's easier to create in France than it is in the US, or does it matter, or is it just different?
It doesn't matter. Wherever I am, will come in one way, one form or another.
One form or another. Yeah. With the subject of jazz, like I love that quote that Adriana Campbell had that was read in your introduction, where she says that your work often operates as a fusion of improvisation and subject matter, governed by memory akin to the way that a jazz musician follows the established chord progressions and then recycles it to render it continually new. Can you speak to your approach to jazz and how maybe there's conversations that you have with yourself in both that create that process for you?
Well, for me right now, it's, you know, music, you know, and that incorporates all forms of music. So I'm not restricted to jazz.
Gotcha. What are some of the things you listen to when you're painting, or do you?
Oh, I listen to Brazilian music. I listen to tangos.
Mm.
You know.
Is that improvisational as well? When you just decide to start painting, you just turn on what feels right for the moment, or do you have like a?
Well, it's kind of bodily, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever you feel like moving to for the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's check the chat. Does anybody have any questions that have come up for either myself or Mr. Lawrence? And if you do, like I said, please feel free to put them in the chat. Can we also talk a little bit about mastering your craft? Because you mentioned to me a point in time that you lived in Mexico where you made a living off of music and you sort of felt like, I need to get really good at this. Can we talk about that process of mastering your craft? And if you want to talk about, painting as well, but maybe something in the vein of your focus and how you sort of hone in and decide what you're going to focus on.
Oh, well, playing in Mexico was a matter of necessity, something where I can, feed myself. It was like, how do you make a living? Yeah, you play music. That's what I did. I played with different bands, had my own bands. And
Sure.
got through it somehow.
Yeah, it was like no choice.
No choice.
No choice, but yeah. When it comes to either the music or the art, do you feel like it's still a journey for you in terms of like when you're kind of in the process of mastering something, maybe the journey feels more this kind of way until you can kind of like just go? Where do you feel you are like internally? I mean, I can give my opinion and I'm sure people have opinions of like he just goes, but where do you internally feel like you are as an artist?
I'm on the go.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
I do it.
Yeah. No, I love it's really cool and I think really inspiring to see when an artist is sort of living their best life in terms of all the success and all of the things that they've worked so hard for and all of the unseen things sort of come to fruition and really like it's like the light bulb just kind of goes and is on glow and it doesn't turn off. And it's really inspiring and really cool to see that in someone. So congratulations on all of your success. Yes, indeed. So the foundation of a solid education is important, but I think we all can agree that education in the classroom is not always everything.
We can agree.
There has to be some sort of balance. Can you speak to what that balance has been in your own life?
Well, there's never been any balance in my life. So I wouldn't be the one to speak for that. But like I'm saying, it's about calling and purpose.
Yeah.
We gotta have faith in what comes through us.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think on the education side of things, it's really important for us to, I talked about speaking to an individual's potential and trying to really pull that out of them. Sometimes, in a larger classroom, that's more difficult to give that individualized attention. Maybe you have your advisees, but say you're typically in a room of, 1,500 people, and it's just impossible to get to know everybody. But I think there are always ways that we as educators can bring into our own practice of helping people learn ways, little nuggets that maybe we don't know if they grasped, taken, or heard, but that can impart some sort of thought process of the next thing, because it is our responsibility to not just teach the thing on the chalkboard, but to really give students a foundation. Like, as students, we spend more time at school than we do in our own homes at a certain point. My kindergartner spends more hours at school in a day than he does hanging out with all of us, over bedtime. And so it's so important as teachers to not just view the role as you're here to learn,
Right.
these 20 things, but to really act as that parent type figure that's nurturing and encouraging, and sending people out to be their best selves and versions of themselves. Is there any one teacher that you've had in your past that when you say this was my favorite teacher, the name pops into your head? And it could be art, music, or otherwise,
Not really.
No? Do you feel like there was a teacher who stands out in your mind of like, I'm gonna run from this teacher, or just like didn't help the cause?
No, no, I had a Tai Chi teacher once, an old Chinese man. He was a good teacher.
Yeah. What was so good about him?
Well, he was proficient, he
Okay.
knew the philosophy and everything, and
Yeah.
and there was a personal connection because he knew what you needed.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And that's hard. That's hard to come by when
Natural.
somebody.
It's natural.
It's what? I'm sorry.
It's natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I feel like it's a hard thing to be able to sort of see into somebody in a way that maybe they don't see themselves yet,
Right.
and speak to the person that
Right.
they're going to become
Yep.
versus the person that they are
Yeah.
right now. And
Just take them to the next station.
yeah, yeah. And that's our job, is to sort of analyze the person in front of us and try and figure out how we can take them to that next level. Well, Claude, this has been such a tremendous honor.
Thank you. Crystal
if-
Bridges.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. If there are no questions in the chat, Kay, can we bring you back in?
Yes. There she is.
Here I am.
Okay.
Hi. Thank you all. I really enjoyed this. And the time with the painting and the music, it was so powerful. It was beautiful. I could hardly wait to see what Mr. Lawrence was going to do next and what voice we were going to hear next in the music. So thank you so much for being here with us. And this has been recorded, so we will be able to show this again. And I'm sorry there were no questions. My question, let me ask. So did the music start? Mr. Lawrence, you started painting while Professor Claire was walking back to the singers.
I did.
Was that just your It seemed like it was the skeleton, maybe.
I saw
What was that?
a picture. I saw the choir.
Okay, okay. So you knew that the choir was going to be involved, and so you were okay. Okay. And then once the choir began to sing, is that when your color came to you?
Yeah.
Tell me a little more about that, please.
I can't tell you anything about that. It's all natural.
Yes, you can.
You can't
Tell me.
me nothing.
Do you have synesthesia where you see color when you hear sound, or like thoughts of color?
I can't separate it into a scientific, synopsis, but maybe.
Okay. Well, it was fascinating to watch with the white going on, and then what I would call a bit of a yellow, and then the black outlining. It was almost like I thought you were done with the white and the yellow.
Okay.
But then came the outlining, and then came the touch of what maybe a pink or red.
Okay.
And I kept wondering, is there going to be a cool color, a blue or a green? And I almost didn't want you.
I see you working on your next painting.
Yeah, I was almost cheering for you to stop right now because I love it. And then the music. Dr. Claire, you said your students were watching the video or the filming of him painting, correct?
Yes. So they had up on the screen him painting to where they could just see it super large in front of them. And that is basically what they went off of, was just watching the strokes. And here they are delivering microphone and equipment back. But yeah, they're just watching the strokes and the colors, and just, whoever had a thought or an idea of what to bring forth, they just went for it. So sometimes you would hear a couple of people come in at the same time because they both were reacting. And then you'd hear, maybe one person had a reaction that's up here and another person had one down here. And then, you have the lovely basses kind of keeping the tempo going.
That kind of that rhythm kept going with the bass voice. And now, Mr. Lawrence, bear with me here. So we had that bass rhythm going. Is that represented anywhere in your work of art?
No.
Okay. All right. Because I kept trying to connect the soprano, that when she would come in, if that was then, influencing something with your work, or vice versa.
No.
What was your thought process during that?
Oh, I don't think.
That's
my only, that's my only respite.
Yeah.
I did enjoy watching you try to find your paint cans.
Yeah. Normal things.
Well, it did kind of normalize it, because we stand in awe of your talent and this work that you do, and then to see you doing something simple like looking for a can of paint kind of made me have a connection. Oh, he's human. Okay.
Yes.
So again, I want to thank you from Crystal Bridges for being here with us, both of you. I think the conversation was fascinating, the music beautiful, inspiring, and the art incredible and inspiring as well. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having us.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.